Movie Mayhem here at Superior Works Cinema, where we watch all the movies. We have a special edition of the Jean-Claude Van Damme series. We present to you Street Fighter. I know most people have never seen this excellent film, which ranks up there. Oh, yeah. Probably more well known as being the film that knocked Citizen Kane out of the #1 list. And so we have finished rewatching this excellent film. If you don't know the history, obviously, this is one of the very early video game movies, and probably the one that helped cement the fact that all video game movies will suck and never be any good.
Right.
Let's talk about a little bit of what it got right. It did get some things right. I mean, the look of the characters. You could tell who they were.
Most of them.
Yes.
Most of them.
To an extent.
Like 80% of them were pretty obvious who they were.
And that is a plus. It wasn't, Mario Brothers way off or Double Dragon where you're just like, what's happening? Right. Did you guys play it? The main problem I have with it is Street Fighter's a fighting game, and there's no fighting in the movie except in the spurts. So, it's the director wrote Die Hard 2, Beverly Hills Cop 3, but you can hear a lot of his humor in the lines.
Right.
I think he made a remark like that'd be funny. That was funny when Bruce Willis said it. I'm like, oh yeah, he wrote Die Hard.
Right.
And it works, but with Jean-Claude delivering them or Raul Julia channeling the inner actor in all of us, they come off very differently.
Yeah, the delivery on a lot of them is just off. I mean, it's just off, and these lines, so they just come off cheesy instead of like awesome. So that does cause some problems with that.
Well, and another weird thing too. Jean-Claude, you paid for Jean-Claude and you paid for Raul Julia.
Right.
Raul Julia is inappropriately billed as a star.
Yes.
But Jean-Claude is hardly in the movie. He has less screen time than Ryu or Ken.
Right. Well, I mean, technically, Ryu and Ken should be technically the main characters, but they weren't actually in costume until like the last 50 minutes of the movie.
And they definitely didn't cost as much as Jean-Claude.
That's true. And there was a severe lack. I mean, if you're a Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, I mean, there was a serious lack of roundhouse kicks in this. It was just really disappointing how few roundhouse kicks there were on screen.
And the way they cut them, too. Right. There's a couple we noticed, especially the temple fight. He was doing them, but they opted to go with that Western style of editing. Right. Very common up until The Matrix, when Yin Wu Ping did choreography in an American movie.
Right.
And you couldn't tell he was even kicking. You just saw somebody getting hit with a foot. What I find funny is Jackie Chan in City Hunter managed to capture everything awesome about a Street Fighter video game.
Including cross-dressing.
15 minutes!
Yeah, that's true.
And this missed most of those things.
Yeah.
He looked like he was a more accurate Chun-Li. Maybe not better looking, but a more accurate looking Chun-Li.
That's true.
All the characters, Honda was better. I mean, it had the moves in there. And again, Dalsim from Flying Guillotine was better. You remember that,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
And in here, he's just called Dalsim. It's kind of like,
he's just Scientist Dalsim.
Yeah, it's almost like, why bother?
We needed him in, well, we have, he was on the paper, so we gotta find a character for him somewhere, so he's a scientist this time.
It makes me wonder what they were thinking when the script was being written. Like, this is supposed to be a tournament thing. Like, have you seen DOA?
Yeah.
So, that works. It's, what do? They sign up for a tournament and kick each other's ass. Because that's the point of the game.
As well. Worked in the first Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah, second one, not so much.
Second one, not so much. First Mortal Kombat movie is actually not bad.
Yeah, and then this one, part of it I can forgive because you got almost the entire cast can't fight.
Right.
But even Raul Julia, the fight scene was entertaining and worked.
Yes.
But the other guys, there's no real fighting. They're so short. The Ken Ryu fight with Vega and Sagat, it's so chopped up.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming those guys either can't fight or they butchered it with the editing.
Right.
Now we noticed Benny the Jet is in this, and he was apparently a trainer. And did stunts here and there. There's like 60 stuntmen listed.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Well, they did have a lot of soldiers, though, that were jumping off of buildings and stuff. So, yeah,
it could be that. But you got a guy like that. Why didn't we have better fight scenes? And I think it's really lacking it. There was, like, the boat scene. We have a stealth boat scene with lots of explosions. Because I remember
exploding bullets.
I remember that level in Street Fighter.
Oh, yeah, you didn't play that level? That was one of the bonus levels. It was in between a couple of the fights. You got halfway through the game and you played the boat level.
I wish it was there.
You remember that?
No. I don't remember the boat level, unfortunately. It might have been in the Hyper Ultra Super Special Edition.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. They, and I honestly, I need to watch the commentary because I'm curious if the director purposely made this satirical. It's so, and the weird dubbing. You won't notice a lot of it.
There's a lot of stuff, lines that were added in post, that were very obviously added in post. I mean, I've seen Godzilla movies that had better dubbing than this movie.
Better lip sync.
And better lip sync. It was atrociously bad. Like, they were obviously not moving, or they were saying things that were very obviously not the lines that were coming out of the speaker. And that was, it was weird.
Well,
unnecessarily weird.
Yeah, and it wasn't like they were dubbing more for English. It was just characters redubbed. They must have decided,
they filmed it and then they didn't like the line.
Yeah, maybe they thought the delivery was bad.
Well, it probably was.
Right.
There was a lot
but they chose to keep all of the other lines. Some of the lines.
Well, the lines in the movie are great.
They range from bad, like, this is terrible and I'm laughing, to this is so bad, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and there's a couple of, really actually decent lines in there. Like, Raul Julia, and I want to talk about him for a sec. I mean, Raul Julia, so the way that he got into this movie was that he knew he was dying of stomach cancer. And so he had gotten a number of scripts that were presented to him, and he had presented them to his kids, and he said, what do you want to have be my last movie? And kids, being that they were kids at the time in the 90s, they saw Street Fighter and were like, oh man, you're going to do Street Fighter! And so they helped him prepare for Street Fighter as M. Bison, and he decided that as his last movie, and it was, that he was going to ham it up as much as possible. And he did a good job on that. I mean, he overacted this role so heavily. It was amazing.
But he felt like a Capcom villain.
He did. He felt like a video game villain.
Yeah, it really worked. He was so
silly.
over the top that it's like,
this guy can't possibly exist.
He's selling this to me.
Yeah, I know.
I almost believe this guy.
And he still has. I mean, to this day, I will say that is one of the greatest villain lines of all time. When he's talking with Chun-Li, and Chun-Li explains her whole history with him about how he came into her village and killed her father. And his response was that I don't remember it, because for me, it was Tuesday. And that's the greatest line ever, because that shows that, he doesn't just do this as his normal week for that. And that's the greatest line ever. So, yeah, that's awesome.
So I'm going to assume you didn't see it in the theaters.
No, I never saw this in theaters, unfortunately.
So, even I remember coming out of the theater thinking, what the hell did I just watch? But I did walk out thinking, Raul Julia was still really cool in this.
Yes.
It's so, I mean, even if, so when people talk about good, bad movies, unlike steaming piles of shit like Sharknado, this is actually a good, bad movie.
Yes.
It's really entertaining. It's so insanely rich with nonsense. That you can't. Oh my God! Everything is over the top.
Yeah, you can't complain about plot holes when the whole movie is a plot hole. So
So they had, so we had the Street Fighter control panel that M. Bison uses to control the randomly exploding mines that really don't work. It's just water spouts. I guess that was a cheap way to use some explosions. And apparently there was some drama on this set. I didn't actually know this, but
so it's worth noting that if you see some chemistry between Kylie Minogue and Jean-Claude Van Damme, Kylie Minogue playing Cammy in this one on screen, you saw some chemistry there. It's because they were actually sleeping together during this movie. Jean-Claude Van Damme was cheating on his wife with Kylie Minogue, which I suppose that's if you're gonna cheat on him with somebody.
If you're gonna cheat, you can say, hey, it's Kylie Minogue. Okay, at least it wasn't some skank hooker in an alley. Who knows?
Yeah, so, yeah, and there was a bunch of just really silly stuff in the movie that was going on, like the entire elaborate jailbreak scene that, like, everything had to have gone perfectly for it to even just slightly work. Like, where they had to get a guy hanging off of the back of a truck and pull his gun, but only this one guy's gun that has blanks loading in it, and pull it out and shoot at him at the exact time so that his blood packs go off so that he looks like they killed him.
And what?
It's like they could have done something a little bit easier than that.
Yes. And they do something like that where they try to give you a level of realism, like, oh, we're making an action movie. This is kind of serious. But then at the same time, they went through the effort of making Zangief's hair look like that weird...
The triangle. He's got the triangle hair.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. And they do all that, which is really cool as a fan of the game. But it makes me wonder where they're like, different groups of guys on this going, hey man, he's gotta look perfect, and then the other guys making the movie didn't know what the hell they were doing.
Yeah, I kind of feel like some of them were much more accurate. Like Zangief's, like his costume or his character, like they had the scars and the everything.
But
it was perfect.
He didn't do the ridiculous, cool, like, what was it, the Skull Crusher
Yeah, he didn't do any of that. They did a lot of the moves.
See, that was a bummer, too. I wanted to see the silly moves. And they tried to work them in, like, my favorite is Ken's uppercut punch, where he just does a little pirouette.
Yeah.
And it's such a lazy pirouette, because they show his feet,
so
it looks jump. Bad.
He didn't even jump.
Oh, man.
They could have at least, like, jumped and done the uppercut, but no, he just kind of, like... Just a little twirl.
It's there's just so much. Having rewatched this and being able to be entertained all the way through, you almost have to give this movie a very high rating. It's a good piece of entertainment.
It is entertaining. It is not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination.
And it could be good for learning how to act.
Or how not to act.
Right. You can watch this, aspiring actors, watch this and understand, don't do this. And there's so many, like, unknowns in the movie, which is weird. You got Raul Julia and Jean-Claude, and then a bunch of basically no-name actors at the time.
Correct.
And Souza was a no-name director. He'd done some Tales from the Crypt episodes. And
that was pretty early in the 90s. He hadn't really, I think, Die Hard might have been his only movie.
For writing, he did. He actually knocked out about... I looked on IMDb. He did a few more. But as far as directing, he'd only done, like, TV.
Oh, well, there you go.
So, and then your other guys, they're just kind of B actors, and they have that feel, or they were from TV, which, again, nowadays we don't have that gap. But for some reason, pre-2000-ish, the acting was very different, not as good.
Yeah.
It felt kind of Whoa, and who played Sagat? That guy.
I don't remember. What was he in?
Lots of stuff. Anyway, that guy's a great actor too. You had a lot of great actors. Wes Studi. You had a lot of really good actors. Oh, and they changed Honda. They changed him to Samoan.
Yeah,
you couldn't find one Japanese guy anywhere that did sumo. I mean, that wasn't possible.
No, it was moderately okay on camera.
All right, it's not like he was a great actor or had lines he had to deliver. I mean, Sakawada or whatever.
I'm Sumo Brother.
That guy, his line, that was the guy that delivered every line that was terrible. Oh, the one Japanese guy they have that just delivers...
Godzilla level reads.
I don't understand that. He was in the picture at the end too. I don't remember.
He wasn't in the game.
At any point.
No, he wasn't in the game.
Yeah, so if there's a reason, anybody knows why that guy was in the last still shot?
Yeah, I mean...
Everybody else was a character, except him. And I do like that Kylie did point her ass to the camera at that shot. That was pretty good. Minus the leotard. Still need the leotard. So yeah, this isn't technically a kung fu movie, but this is for fun.
It was an honorable mention.
Yes. So obviously, this is the highest recommendation to enjoy this film. Any other parting words?
I know, that's about it.
All right, so let us know what you think of the excellent Street Fighter 2, and we'll see you here next time.